Hi, so in this particular video, we're going to study the conditional statements and the loop statements. So in Python, we have conditional statements like if statement, if else statement, elif statement, and nested if statement. So let's study the format of these statements. If there are no else statement attached to if, it is just an if statement. And the format is if, and there is an expression. An expression is basically a condition. And basis that condition, these statements will be executed or not executed. Right? If the expression is true, the statement will be executed. If the expression, the output of this expression comes out to be false, the statement will not be executed. Let's see how. Let's insert a code block and use the input function. If you have not seen how to use the input function, you can refer to my previous video where I have explained the input function. So we are assigning a variable, we are creating a variable num, and we are asking the user to input a value. Okay. So let's take the use of this input function and ask the user to enter a number. Enter a number. And, okay. Yeah. So enter a number. And so this is the main input function. If 45 is entered, this is how the input function actually works. But this is a string, right? So we need to change this string to an integer. So let's typecast it to integer using the int typecasting just before the value, and now print the type of this variable just to be ensured that what is the type. It should be integer. So it is the integer. Now let's use this. Now let's create this if function. If num is greater than 0, print positive number. So what this if statement is doing, it is just checking whether this number, whatever we are inputting here, that number is greater than 0 or not. If it is greater than 0, it is returning me a print value, print statement. It is executing a print statement just because if this is true, it is entering into this if statement, and this if statement has, if condition has print statement which is positive number. So let's see how it executes. Let's see, we have input 45, it gives me back positive number. Okay. And let's check negative number again. So let's rerun this particular code and let's enter minus 45. Ideally this minus 45 gives me a false here because num is not greater than 0, it is less than 0. So it should not enter into this if statement. So it should not enter into this condition, right? So it is a false, so it will not give me any print statement. So it has just given me that this is the integer. It has not printed anything. So this is how the if statement actually works. There is no else statement attached to it. Now let's go beyond this and let's use the else statement as well. Suppose we have input number 40 minus 45 and this is false, right? So this statement is not executed. This print statement is not executed. So what else we should do? If it is a false, what are the other executed statements we should proceed with? Okay. So there comes the if else statement. The expression is, this is the condition. If the condition is true, execute this statement. If the condition is false, if this expression or the condition is false, go to the else statement and execute these statements. Okay. Let's create a block of code here. Copy this code and let's copy this code and do some changes in the existing code. Okay. So this, if this condition or expression is true, print this, else print negative number. Okay, now execute this. So we have done nothing rocket science. We have just included else statement in this if condition. So if this condition is true, this statement will be executed. If this condition stands false, else statement will be executed. Let's try it out. Earlier when we were using this minus 45 and the user was inputting minus 45, this statement was not getting executed. That means if again we input minus 45, this will not be executed, but it should go into the else statement and execute this and give me back negative number. So let's try it out. The same input value as minus 45. So it is a negative number. So what it has done is it has gone and checked here. Is minus 45 greater than 0? No, it is a false. Minus 45 is not greater than 0. So this condition is not, this statement will not be executed. So it directly jumps to the else statement. Okay. Under else condition, we have this statement as in print statement. So that is why it has printed negative number. Let's try the positive number. So it gives me positive number. Now we can have multiple elif conditions, like if this condition is true, execute this statement, else go to this condition and check if this condition is true or not. If this is also not true, go to another else if condition and check another statement. So that's how we can keep on changing our conditions. Multiple conditions can be embedded here. Let's change this particular code a bit so that we can include this elif statement here as well. Okay. So insert a code block, copy this piece of code here, and let's add few things more. So number, we are inputting a number and we are changing it to integer, and then what we are doing, if num is greater than 0, this elif, so embed an elif here, elif, and the condition is num is equal to 0. Since this is an uh, comparison operator, so we'll be using double equal to sign and will not be using assignment operator. Assignment operator is always single equal to sign. I have a separate video built on the comparison operator and conditional operator. So if you want to check it out, you can check it out in my library, in my video playlists. Okay. So if num is equal to 0, then go into another print statement and say 0, print 0. So what it is doing, we are asking the user to input a number here. If the number is greater than 0, say positive number. If it is not greater than 0, check if it is equal to 0, okay, and print 0. If it is not equal to 0, then go to the else statement and print negative number. Now let's try it out and run this code. Minus 45, it gives me negative number because this is false, this is false. It goes into the else condition, it prints negative number. Let's try to run this code again. Put here 0. So it checks here, it is greater than equal to greater than 0. So this is false. It doesn't execute this. It goes into the another condition, elif condition, and it checks if the number is equal to 0 or not. It is equal to 0, that is why it is printing 0, and it doesn't reaches else statement. Now let's run it with a positive number. So it gives me positive number because the first condition is satisfied and it prints back the positive number. Okay. Now let's check the loop statements. So this was all conditional statements. We have seen if statement, if else statement, elif statement. Now let's check the loop statement. So there are loop statements like for loop is there, while loop is there. Let's check the while loop statement. And the format is while. Here is the condition. If the condition is true, run the body of code. Now let's run a code. Let's straight away build a code. Let's take a variable num and assign a value to it 7. Then while num is less than 10, print num and num is equal to num plus 1. So what we are trying to do is we have assigned a variable, assigned a value 7, which is an integer 7, to a variable num, and then we are entering into this while condition. This while condition until and unless this while condition stands false, these statements will be executed. And it will run in a kind of loop, in an iteration. Okay. So while 7 is greater than 10, so in the first line, 7 is greater than 10, yes. 7 is less than 10, yes. So print 7, it will print 7. Then it will go to this point, this particular line. So 7 is equal to 7 plus 1, which is 8. So then the value of num becomes the 8, right? Then it will go into the while loop again. It will come here. Now it will check 8 is less than 10, true. So it will print value 8, and then it will change the value of num to 8 plus 1, 9. Then it will go back to the while condition. It will run 9 is less than 10, true. So print the value of 9, and then and a new value of num would be 9 plus 1, 10. Once num is equal to 10, it will go again back to the condition while, and in the while condition it will check 10 is less than 10, false. So it will come out of the while loop. So until and unless this condition stands true, it will get into a loop, and once this condition stands false, it will come out of the while loop. So let's run it out and let's see what are the different values. Starting from 7, it is getting printed. So it prints 7, 8, 9. So it's a kind of dry run we have already done. So in the first loop it is checking 7, it is printing 7, then the value of the variable num is getting changed to 8. In the second loop, 8 is less than 10, yes, so it is printing 8. The value of num is getting changed to 9. Then the 9 is compared to 10, 9 is less than 10, true, it is printing 9, and then the value of variable num is changed to 10. Once it changes, checks 10 is less than 10, it is false, and it comes out of the while loop. Okay. So this is your while loop. I have kept a very simple calculation so that so that any new beginner who is into this Python programming, or whosoever has not done programming in their career, and this for the first time they have started doing the programming. So this is the kind of very basics, and I think this should be very easy to understand as well. Suppose there is a while condition. When the while condition always stands true, it will go into an infinite loop. So how to come out of it? Press Ctrl plus C to come out of it. And in case if the code is running and there is some block due to which the code is not at all getting stopped, and you have to forcibly start it, restart the kernel, or you can just stop the kernel here. You can just go to kernel, restart the kernel, or yeah, or maybe stop the kernel and start the kernel again. Okay. Hope this is I think this is good for anybody beginner who has just started. Thank you.